Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at my Parrot in Unreal Engine, and this is a big update to the Parrot. As I'm looking at this map right here, this is the animation map. I don't think I added all the latest animation. We can hit play though, and we can see most of the different animations that the Parrot comes with: shaking, standing on ledge, walking, shaking, bobbing, flying, of course. And if we get out of this map, we can look at the folders underneath. And the big update to this system is a new AI system for it. So you can drag and drop the bird into a scene and it can do all the things that a parrot would do. So the first folder, if we just look at the folders, we have an animation folder and then a blueprint folder. We'll look at those in a minute. We have the maps. We have this animation map, which needs to be updated. And we have an AI map, which we'll look at in a minute. One PBR material for the parrot. We can look at the meshes and the physics shape. If we simulate this, back up a little, I should be able to pick this up. Yep, there we go. The complex physics for the parrot. And of course it has a skeleton, and we have PBR textures, normal map roughness, and base color. And now we can jump into the animations. I think I added something like 8 new animations to the Parrot for this update, so we'll jump right into them. Also comes with the blend space, and this is for basically just walking around. And then we have the bobbing animation. Let's turn them sideways a little. And then he also has a grip version. So if he's standing on a branch or a pole or something like that, then you can use that one. So the dance animation, dance with grip. Then we have a dead animation. And dead falling, where he's falling out of the sky. And then a death animation if he dies on the ground. There's our flying animation. Flying down. Gliding. Landing animation. Here's a takeoff animation. And we have flying up. We have our idle animation. Idle with the grip. Idle 2. Idle 2 with grip. Idle 3. Idle 3 with grip. Idle 4. Idle 4 with grip. Idle 5. Idle 5 with grip. Then we have a stretching animation. And then with grip. Scratching animation, and a scratching with grip. We have a shaking animation, shaking with grip. Then we have a talking animation, and talking with grip. And then a turning animation, turning left, turning right. and then a walking animation. And that's it for animation. Now we can jump into the new AI system I have for it. So we can go to blueprints and maybe load that AI map. Now the way the AI works is, let's see, you drag in this NPC version of it, okay? Not the blueprint. Normally you would just drag in the blueprint, but this NPC version has a blueprint in it, a Parrot blueprint inside of it. And if you look at this one, okay, it has a few parts to it. One is a landing point. We can I can select it here actually and focus in on it. So there's a landing point that you can designate and move it around. So if you choose it in the hierarchy in your scene, and then you can look at it here and choose the different parts of it. Okay, and then move it around to place this where you want the parrot to land on the ground. Now up here we have another object that you can move, the branch landing point. So this is if you want it to land in a tree, or if there's a post that you have just for the parrot, then you can put this right where that post is, and the bird will land right on that post. And then we have a final part to this, which is the spline. Okay, that also comes with the spline that you can edit and change if you feel like it. So you could move things up or down on this spline, all right in the scene that you're using. And I have some different options for all this too. So if we hit play in this scene, now you don't see any of those parts that we're showing, but what you do see are the different birds, and they're all just kind of idling right now. But eventually one or two or three of them will jump up and start flying. There's one flying over there. And there goes one. So now he's going to fly along that spline. And then when he gets done flying, they'll fly for a minute or so. Something like that. But even the ones on the ground, if I come up close to him, I'll scare him and he'll fly away. Oop, I must have hit him. Where's another one on the ground? Yeah, if you bump into them, you can kill them. So he took off. Now he's flying. And eventually they'll fly back down to the ground or to their perch. Like this one over here has flown onto his perch or his branch, and now he's standing on the branch, and then he just saw me and flew away. And this one will stay dead for at least a couple minutes, and then he'll wake up again. But of course you can change that in how you want all that to work. You can change the code. There's one standing on its perch now. And sometimes they'll fly back down to the ground, to the landing point that you designated, or the perch that you designated, or the branch. There's one landing over there. Oh, and then he just took off again. So they kind of have their own brain where they decide what they're going to do. The parrots act a little bit more like parrots. Oh, I think the one that was dead just woke up and flew away. Okay, so we can look a little bit at the code and how all this works. So I have a pretty complex animation blueprint with all the different transitions between all the different things that it does. And what else? The Parrot blueprint. So here's all the different logic and how it goes from each thing that it does. It kind of decides whether it wants to fly or whether it wants to walk around. And then here's when it's roaming just on the ground. And there's a part where it can take damage. So we can look at that a little bit more. And here's where it detects and it sees you. And then here's a hit check in case you get hit, the bird gets hit. And then when it gets revived down here, when it wakes up. And then we have a branch idle. So this is what it does when it lands on a branch and how it idles between animations. The takeoff, how it takes off, and then it transitions into flying in the air. And then landing, how it controls the landing, and then what it does when it gets on the ground. And then landing on a branch, which is totally different, and what it does on the branch. So all of that, and if we look at the very top option in the blueprint, there's a bunch of options on the side that you can change to alter to fit your scene or how you want the parrots to react. So there's how long you want it to idle, how long you want it to fly, how much time it spends on a branch, how long it stays dead. If you don't want it to see people, you can turn sight off. If you don't want it to die, you can turn dying off. If you only want it to sit on a branch, you can check that. Or if you only want it to fly around. Let's say you have a scene, you just want birds up in the sky. Well, you can check only flying and then add them to the scene. And then at the very bottom, we have AI perception, where you can adjust how far they can see things. So right now I have it so that when the bird sees somebody, it takes off and flies away. So you can change this distance to where they get scared and fly away. And what else? So that's the blueprint. And then everything gets combined into this NPC version where it contains everything in one container. The spline that is the path the bird flies on, which you can change in here or in game or in your runtime scene. Not at runtime, but in the edit scene. And then here the landing point, which you can edit, or the branch landing point, and then the ground landing point. So you can edit all those things in this NPC version, and you can make different versions that do different things also. But that's how that basically works, and then you just need to drag one of these NPC versions into your scene and then set up where your branch is and where your landing point, where you want that to be, and you're all set. So that's a look at my NPC parrots in Unreal Engine. Well, real quick, let's have them fly about. And I'm going to try and take out a few in the sky so you can bump into them and kill them while they're flying. Then they fall down to the ground. Oop, there's one. Oh, yep, falling down to the ground. So if you had a gun, then you could shoot them out of the sky. I don't know why anybody would want to shoot a parrot, though. Really, come on. Why would you shoot a parrot? And when they're standing on their little branches, you can bump into them and kill them. Or on the ground. See, he just died. I don't see any landing. But it's pretty cool. Or you could, like I said, you could turn all of those things off if you don't want to use them in your game or whatever. So that's a look at my Parrot in Unreal Engine. Have a good one, everyone.